Welcome. In front of me I have the Xiaomi Redmi 17, and in this video I'll be going over unboxing along with a quick look at the phone itself, along with its build quality, specifications, and give you my thoughts and opinions along with a first impression of it as I go and check it out myself. Now, like always, I am in no way sponsored by any kind of brand. Obviously, no brand in their right mind would want to sponsor videos like these. So yeah, and that basically means that I can say whatever the hell I want and what I think without any kind of problems of fearing that a company won't be doing business with me. Now, with that in mind, let's get ourselves straight into the box. So, 2 seals to cut through. And I do want to point out something that isn't labeled right here is the fact that this is a 4G phone in 2026. Awesome. Okay. Now, when we pop the cover, you can already see it has some information, which is a massive 7,500 milliampere battery. Pretty good. And that is actually a massive battery. We have 45 watts charging. Again, pretty good. Durable Cornell Glass 7i display, immersive 6.9 nice display, powerful MediaTek, that's no, not really, and 50 megapixel AI dual camera system. Now the AI bullshit is pissing me off and would have loved to not see it. I believe devices sell better without this bullshit kind of AI trash labeled everywhere, but you know, got to appease the corporate cucks that have the money. Anyway, alright, they're called investors. Sorry, not corporate cucks. Anyway, here we have Type-C to Type-A charging cable, paperwork, and literally that's it. Okay, so here it is. Out of the box, the phone is a little bit chunky. It has some heft to it. After all, it does have a 7,500 milliampere battery in here. So you can feel that battery in here. And we have a pretty dated looking build with a hefty chin, which you will be able to see in a second once the device boots up. Oh, there we go. So this is looking like a very dated device. Now, to give you a comparison, I'm going to be bringing up something that is way outside of the price scope right here. But I do want to bring it up just because at not much more, you can get basically the same kind of screen to body ratio and look to something like this. Just pay attention not to the phone that I brought in here, but the bezels that you have. These are relatively small, and these are not even as small as some other devices have, like, for instance, this right here. This is even smaller bezels. This is what you would expect from phones nowadays. Though this is a flagship, but Xiaomi does have phones that are closer to budget that do have a very similar kind of screen to body ratio. So this right here is falling short of what Xiaomi can deliver. Now, in terms of the display right here, this is a 6.9, like I mentioned, inch display. It's an LCD display, 120 Hz refresh rate with a resolution of measly 720 by 1600. So it's not even full HD, unfortunately. It boasts 86.2% screen to body ratio and a pixel density of 254 pixels per inch, aka basically half of what you would expect from a modern device. So display, like I said, falls a little bit short right here for this device. Now, I do want to give this phone credit where it's due. This is a relatively cheap device, coming at about 250 euros, but by no means is it the best. I want to quickly actually check something out, as I just remembered another device that kind of competes with this one. So I just wanted to check before I start talking any further later on and be giving like a comparison. So I want to have a bit of a preparation for this. Probably would have been better if I did that by actually pausing the damn video, but minutes need to count for me. Anyway, so I'll be bringing up two phones, one that will be a little bit more expensive and one that will be a little bit I believe cheaper even than this, but both of them will be an absolute fantastic choice. And Oops, I did the wrong one. There we go, that's what I meant to do. Crap. Okay, and okay, I'm ready now. So let's quickly go over the specifications right here and what Xiaomi offers with this device other than the display. So on the back we have what looks to be a dual camera setup, but in reality I can already tell you based on the size of this thing that you're never going to be using that bottom one. And the main sensor supposedly is a 50 megapixel f1.8 wide sensor, and then at least GSM Marina labels this piece of shit as auxiliary lens, which is fancy ways of saying it's absolute bullshit trash camera that Xiaomi popped in here just so it looks better on paper that it has more than one camera, but in reality it's absolute useless dog shit. So that's kind of, you know, deciphering corporate speak of auxiliary lens. Now moving on, as a selfie in this hole punch, we have an 8 megapixel f2.0 wide sensor, and both front or back offer the same kind of performance, which is 1080p 30 frames. Pretty lackluster, I would say. Okay, so now moving on to the internals of this device, that's actually where the phone has some ups and some downs. So starting off with a good one, which I already did mention, is the huge battery, 7,500 milliamps, absolutely phenomenal battery size right here. Though this device is a little bit chunky because of it, but at least because of it, it will also last you a long time. Now it also can be charged at a pretty decent speed at 45 watts. Now it's by no means fast, I would say, even though, where was it? Right here. Is it labeled as fast? There we go. Turbocharging. Sorry, not fast. It's turbocharging. So I wouldn't call this turbocharging, but in reality, it will be charging your device relatively fast. This is also the same speed that Samsung devices, such as, for instance, this one that costs nearly $2,000, charge at. Now, this is more of a testament to how scummy Samsung is, rather than how fast it charges. While other devices, even from Xiaomi, flagship Xiaomi devices, charge at sometimes at 120 watts. So you can see how this is a little bit on the lower end compared to what Xiaomi actually offers at their highest end. But by no means is it bad. It's still, I would say, pretty good. And there's also downsides to super fast charging, like 120, which is kind of damaging the battery. If you charge it super fast, it tends to degrade the battery faster than if you charge it at a slower rate, for instance, like 45 watts like this one. So this could potentially be a very good sweet spot. Now, what isn't a good sweet spot will be the RAM and processor in here. It comes with 4 gigabytes to 6 gigabytes of RAM, so both of them are a little bit on the lower end. 128 gigabytes of storage as the base entry, which is fine, and it's expandable via micro SD card. If I pop this out, where the hell is it? There we go. Oh, crap, I just dropped it. Oh, there we go. So you can see we have SD card support right here, along with SIM card and technically dual SIM. So if you forego a SD card, you can pop in another SIM card. So for expandability, that is pretty good. And if you want more storage out of the box, you can go for the 256, which comes with two options, either 4 or 6 gigabytes of RAM, while the 128 only has the 4 gigabytes of RAM for some moronic reason. Obviously, they just want to fleece more money out of you in reality. Anyway, now moving on to the processor, like I mentioned, probably the weakest portion of this device is the Helio G91 Ultra. It's not going to be super bad processor, but for the price, I find it to be underwhelming. And I know that Xiaomi can pump out some insane devices for at its price points. And this one honestly seems like it's under-delivering. I think Xiaomi over-delivered with some other devices, so now they're toning the shit down out of them, as I already unpacked things like the Black Shark Xiaomi tablets. And my God, those were basically like AliExpress drop shipping devices. They were horrible. And this device just kind of seems to follow those tablets a little bit. Not to the same extent, though. Those tablets were absolute god-awful garbage. This is still seeming more like a Xiaomi device, but at a price that I wouldn't really consider worth picking it up. Now, before I get to the recommendations, I'm quickly gonna also touch upon the build quality of this device. So we're looking at IP65 resistance rating, which is dust tight and water resistant, low pressure water jets, or basically AKA, I would say, rain. So obviously not waterproof at all in a way. It's built out of obviously front glass, being the corner glass 7i, and other than that we have plastic frame and plastic back. So build wise it is subpar, and the heft of this device is one of the more interesting portions, as this device comes at a weight of 232 grams. So it is a chunkers. This is a absolute unit. And let me quickly check. I'm not sure if it's not heavier than the Fold. Let me bring up GSM Arena and check out Fold 8. Weight is 201 grams, so it is heavier than a folding phone like this one. Wow. Okay, so yeah, like I said, this is an absolute unit. It does, you will feel that in your pocket, let's be honest. So now moving on to the recommendations. Now I will have two different ones at two different price points in case you are interested in something that would be definitely way better. So I will still try to keep it in reasonable kind of price point. First one, which will be a little bit, no, maybe not a little bit, basically at the same price point, will be the Nothing Phone CMF Phone 2 Pro, or Nothing CMF Phone 2 Pro. That device is going to come at the same price point. It's going to have a smaller battery. It was released like a year ago at this point, so it's not necessarily the newest one on the market, but it is at the same price and offers, in my opinion, a little bit better almost everything other than the battery. The battery is 5000 milliamps and charges at 33 watts, but everything else, in my opinion, is improved or kept at the same kind of level. So what's improved there? It comes out of the box with 8 gigabytes of RAM, so that's already pretty good. Also has expandable storage, 128 to 256 gig of storage, so similar exactly like this one, but has more RAM. We have 50 megapixel wide, we have 50 megapixel telephoto, and 8 megapixel ultra wide cameras that do 4K 30 and 1080p up to 120 frames of slow motion, while the selfie offers you 16 megapixel wide that does 1080p 30. So again, even for photos, videos, it's going to be better than what we have right here. Display, again, improvement, AMOLED display over the LCD. It's running at full HD resolution 1080 by 2392 pixels AMOLED, which gives you much nicer contrast ratios, more vibrant colors, 120 Hz refresh rate, much faster pull rate, so the responsiveness for your touch inputs. We have HDR10 plus certification and a peak brightness of 3000 nits, so much brighter than this. Now, in terms of processor powering it, is the Dimensity 7300 Pro, which, if we take a look at the nanoreview.net website, I'm going to be comparing the 91 and 7300, so not the Ultra that this one has, and the Pro that the CMF phone has. But the difference is they're just a little bit higher clocked, giving a little bit more juice. But it's not a significant jump, not one that would alter this kind of look in any kind of significant way. Now, when we look at benchmarks for N2 which tests CPU, GPU, RAM, IOs, and whatever, we are looking at 143% increase in performance over this phone. And then if we look at Geekbench 6 for single core, we're looking at 150% performance, and multi-core 100% increase. So double the performance of what we have right here in multi-core, and 2.5 times over single core. GPU, so for gaming purposes, we're looking at 133% increase, so more than double the performance in games. And the list goes on, but in general, it's going to be significantly better than what we have right here. Basically, on average, double better. So with that in mind, that is going to be a phone that basically comes at the same price as this one, meaning that this is kind of redundant, as you can get much better, much faster device that has a better display, better cameras, and only it suffers the battery capacity and charging speed by a little bit, which in my opinion is a well worth downgrade in battery, but upgrade in everything else. Now, if you are interested in a phone that would be a little bit more expensive, we're not talking about like heaps and bounds in prices, you could pick up the Xiaomi Poco X8 Pro. Now, this costs about 250, while the Poco will come at about 310, I would say, at least where I'm from. So for me, it's about 500 PLN more. So this one would cost about 1,000 PLN. The Poco costs like 1,500 PLN. And in my opinion, it is going to be kind of like the go-to phone, as it does have 6,500 milliamps, so still less than we have right here. But it charges at 100 watts. It comes with 8 to 12 gigabytes of RAM, but we're going to be looking at that 8, just because price will be a little bit closer to what we have right here. It comes with 256 gigabytes of storage as the lowest end for that price, so double the storage of this one. Has much faster storage type, way better processor, being the Dimensity 8500 Ultra. Now, to give you a perspective of how much faster that is, if we again take a look, it's nearly 5 times faster in Antutu 11 benchmarks. And that again tests all different things like CPU, GPU, and so on. Geekbench 6 single core, we're looking at nearly 3 times increase in performance. Multi-core, 3.5 times performance, and in GPU gaming, which that could be very nice to some people. It's only a measly 11.5 times better. Wow, that one actually kind of is insane. In terms of performance, it obviously completely demolishes what we have right here for barely any more money. And it doesn't end there. Again, cameras better with the 50 and 8 megapixel and recording capabilities of 4K 60 and 1080p up to 960 frames. So again, way better. And then selfie gives you actually 1080p 60, unlike the previous option that I mentioned. And build is much better as it's aluminum with glass front and back. AMOLED display, like I mentioned before, with very similar, actually even better display than the previous phone that I mentioned. Higher brightness, faster pull rate for touch inputs, Dolby Vision certification if you actually care for that one. And IP68 and 69K, so dust tight water, high pressure water jets, and dust tight and immersible up to 1.5 meters for 30 minutes. So it is a much better option if you are willing to spend just a bit more. If not, like I said, that CMF would be an actual fantastic option as well at the same price. If you're looking just strictly for a phone that has a insane battery capacity, you can pick up this, but considering the weight of it, as it is a chunky phone, you could alternatively just also go for a other device, get a cheap power bank, and have even more capacity, considering you will be holding around a brick of a phone, as this does have some weight. You can also be holding a phone with a detachable weight. That would be the power bank. So that could be an alternative option if you are interested in such a solution. But like I said, I think generally I would recommend going for more power, as this is a very low-end device and it will be relatively sluggish when it comes down to usability. As you can see, changing the languages, going to next pages, even animations are a little bit choppy, so not the smoothest experience for a phone and from a 2026 release. In any case, that basically concludes my overview, impressions of this device. So if you found this very helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.